Hey, this is Jeremy Wong with my answers to assignment 5.2 part B. I believe racialization played a huge role in Bristol, Rhode Island. A lot of the commodities that that city enjoyed were either directly or indirectly related to the slave trade. In fact, I believe the mansion that was mentioned in the video, the mansion that was kind of the center of town that used to belong to the DeWolf family, the mansion was built off of the proceeds of the slavery that the DeWolf family had. So yeah, it played a huge role in racialization in Bristol, Rhode Island. The thing that made me, I guess, stir strong emotion within me is, as a Protestant Christian, I was brought up with the idea, and I was taught the idea that everyone was made in the image of God, and that everyone had equal rights, and that everyone should be treated equally. And I didn't understand, and I couldn't wrap my head around Protestant Christians defending and even being okay with the slave trade. In fact, even supporting it from the Bible. And I know the Bible talks about slavery and things like that, but in my study, I understand that it was never God's ideal. It was never God's idea for humanity to subjugate another race or another person because one group of individuals had more power or more money or whatever. So that's what really caused the strongest emotion in me as the movie continued and as the family grappled with their past and how they were talking about being Christian. That really confused me about how a Protestant Christian, can be okay with the inhumane treatment that the slaves received during the slave trade. In fact, I believe in the video, one of the families, when he was coming to grip with this, even called out his family and said, yes, they knew that it was evil and they still did it. And I just can't wrap my mind around it, that people would be so tolerant this type of violence that they were okay with it, and that it even was able to continue on. They even did it after it was illegal, and after it was banned. They continued to do it illegally, and in fact, the video says that they got some. I guess made a deal with Thomas Jefferson, where whenever their ships, the Wolf ship, would come into the bay, that he would turn his face or turn his eyes, and he would conveniently not be there at the time the ships came in. And that's lying. That's immoral. And I don't understand how a Christian can be able to do that and still call himself or herself a Christian. So that's really what caused the strongest emotion in me. I believe that the illusion of race has contributed in a huge part to the creation and the perpetuation of racialization. Race, humanity has created race, and it has really caused divide. When you look at someone, you automatically categorize them based on their skin color, what they look like, their hair type, hair color, or hair texture, or whatever. And it automatically creates lines. And I know some people don't do that intentionally or with harm, but it automatically divides us, how we categorize race. And in fact, our genes are not that different. We might look different on the outside, but our genes, people are finding that they're not much different. That we're all part of the same family called humanity. And I believe that this illusion of race is continuing to perpetuate this idea of dividing lines, that you're different than me because you look different, and that you're different than me because you are supposed to act this way. And our idea of reality is hugely affected by the media. The movies we watch, the music we listen to, the news and things like that. And unfortunately, the news portrays specifically African Americans as one thing and white or Caucasian Americans as another thing. And so it causes people, for example, if a white Caucasian woman was to walk down the street at 11 o'clock at night, and an African American gentleman would come up to her, maybe she dropped her bag and an African American gentleman would come up to her and ask her if she needs help, she would automatically think that, that he had evil intent. Maybe it's not consciously, maybe she doesn't want to think it, but because we're so indoctrinated with the media, that's the first thing that's going to come to our mind. There are parts of the neighborhood that we don't want to walk in at night if we see certain individuals, because we have so been infiltrated with this illusion of race that it even affects how we view people. And I know it affects me too. Subconsciously, it affects me. Whenever I'm playing basketball with an African American, I automatically think he's good at basketball because that's what I've seen in the media. Most of the famous basketball players are African American. Most of the good basketball players are African American, and I don't consciously think that, but that's something I subconsciously think that I find myself thinking, and so this affects me too, and I don't like that it affects me. And to be honest, I didn't know that this was an issue until I took this class, but yeah, it affects me, and I'm trying everything I can to watch myself and to be careful with what I think and what I say. How this is going to affect me doing ministry is, for one, in youth ministry, I know a lot of times teenagers use jokes, and that's how they connect. They joke around by each other, and a lot of times race is the butt of their jokes. And a lot of times I would just play it off. But now that I've taken this class and I've thought about it and I've talked to some students, and it actually is not funny. Those jokes actually demoralize the issue and kind of plays down the issue. An issue that is important, an issue that we need to tackle, and an issue that Christians should have the strongest voice about. So that's one way that it will affect how I conduct ministry in the future.